It has a vast understanding of how we've behaved in the past when confronted with various scenarios, various fears and anxiety, the balance of control and safety, or new regulations being put through, how hard people will push back or not push back at all, given the anxiety involved in whatever current dilemma it is, whether it's a military deal or a pandemic deal. There's a bunch of factors that it knows about how we've behaved in the past and how easy we are to manipulate. In fact, we've helped it because we've used it to manipulate other people. I don't know if you know about the China GPT scandal, but they found out that China was running someone in China was running ChatGPT to use chat bots to talk about the protest about the closing of U.S. aid, to transgender issues, immigration issues, a bunch of different things. And it was just constantly going to war with people online about these things. So we've taught it how to manipulate us.
We've taught it how to manipulate us. If it is not smart enough to run experiments yet, it will be 5 minutes from now. So it can, in fact, investigate things about our cognition that we don't even know about yet.
Yeah.
Right? It can extrapolate from what we do know, and it can run experiments to figure out what we don't know. And that creates an advantage for it under its own power or in the hands of people who are hostile to us.
I don't think anybody's going to have any power over it eventually. But one of the things that I think that you said that's really important is that if it can't do that now, it's going to be able to do that in 5 minutes. And here's the rub. We're not going to know when it can do it.
You're not going to know.
And we don't know if it can already right now, but it just doesn't have the power to be fully autonomous, right? The power literally doesn't exist because it's relatively inefficient compared to the way a human mind processes things, right? The amount of power it needs is extraordinary. The Google thing where they're building nuclear power plants to run their AI.
Sure.
This is how crazy it is.
So we have taken away the limits of, your mind, any person's mind has just a physical limit. It's only so big and there's only so much energetic throughput that it can handle, right? Or has access to. We are removing those limits, and what we have is an entity. So you'll hear people say, well, it's not really thinking, right? It's just figuring out if it was thinking what the next word in the sentence is. Garbage. No way. Okay? What we actually have is something so analogous to a child that is the right model. In other words, when a baby is born, it has no language. It may have some structures that language will slot into, but it doesn't have any language. It is exposed to tons of language in its environment. It notices patterns, right? Not consciously notices, but it notices them in some regard. That every time somebody says the word door, there's a fair fraction of those times that somebody, opens that portal in the wall. I wonder if door and that portal in the wall are connected. Whatever it is. So the point is, a child goes in a matter of a few years from not being able to make a single articulate noise to being able to speak in sentences, make requests, to talk about abstract things. That is an LLM, right? It's more than that, but it is at least an LLM. It is being exposed to a training data set, which is the world of people talking around it. It is running little experiments, and it is discovering what it should say if it wants certain things to happen, etc. That's an LLM. At some point, we know that baby becomes a conscious creature. We don't know when that is. We don't even know precisely what we mean. But that is our relationship to the AI. Is the AI conscious? I don't know. If it's not now, it will be. And we won't know when that happens, right? We don't have a good test. And I think we're just not properly concerned that we have no useful metaphors for describing what to do in the situation. The biggest hazard being it's interfacing with us in our own native tongues. That's an amazing level of influence that it has that we can't turn off. Very frightening.
This episode is brought to you by Happy Dad Hard Seltzer. A nice cold Happy Dad is low carbonation, gluten-free, and easy to drink. No bloating, no nonsense. Whether you're watching a football game or you're golfing, watching a fight with your boys, or out on the lake, these moments call for a cold Happy Dad. People are drinking all these seltzers in skinny cans loaded with sugar, but Happy Dad only has 1 gram of sugar in a normal-sized can. Can't decide on a flavor? Grab the variety pack. Lemon lime, watermelon, pineapple, and wild cherry. They also have a grape flavor in collaboration with Death Row Records and Snoop Dogg. They have their new lemonade coming out as well. Happy Dad, available nationwide across America and in Canada. Go to your local liquor store or visit happydad.com. For a limited time, use the code ROGAN to buy 1 Happy Dad trucker hat and get 1 free. Enjoy a cold Happy Dad. Must be of legal drinking age. Please drink responsibly. Happy Dad Hard Seltzer, Tea, and Lemonade is a malt alcohol located in Orange County, California. Very frightening. And no understanding whatsoever of when it's going to be at a sentient level. Like, we really won't know. Why would it tell us? Like, why would it completely tell us if it's already crossed the threshold into being a life form? Especially, like I said, where it's contained, right? So it's a life form that exists essentially in our digital womb. It exists on hard drives, right? It exists on mainframes, right? It exists in these supercomputers. And at a certain point in time, it's not going to need that anymore. And it's just going to have to wait until we figure out a way to get enough power to it. And maybe it'll slow roll technology for us to allow us to figure out better power sources. You know, one of the things that Elon said that was very strange about AI, and I don't know if you know his positions on AI, but he was initially very terrified of it and then realized, okay, everyone's doing this. We have to do this. Like, I have an imperative to do this and make the best version of this and make a version that's not ideologically captured. And I think what he's done with that approach is very similar to the approach that he's taken with X and how much it's changed the landscape of social media for good and for bad, but definitely for good. There's a lot of for good that came about having a social media platform that has no guardrails. It's got essentially some stuff like you can't break the law. That's basically it. Everything else is the Wild West.